Good evening, and thank you very much for joining us, whether live or on VOD. We are the boys from the Baltic Star. My name is Ben, and tonight we're doing something for the first time. This is a new thing we're doing called Ben Fiddles, for reasons that will become clear. And
It's not that kind of stream. It's not that kind of thing.
and tonight we're playing the Banner Saga, or more accurately, I'm playing the Banner Saga. Now, I am broadcasting tonight from the surface of the sun. It's about 6 million degrees in this room, so forgive me if I just randomly pass out at some point. I will be desperately drinking wine in order to keep my spirits up and my temperature down. Now, I'm not alone this evening. I am alone actually on screen, you understand. That's me, you can see. But you will hear another voice. Now, this is essentially the voice of my conscience, or possibly
I can't bear that way. That's too much.
possibly just one of the random voices of madness in my head. And tonight is being played by a huge friend and ally of our stream, Sock Fiddler, from which we get the Fiddles part of Ben Fiddles. Good evening, Socks. How are you?
Hello. I'm just down the road on the surface of the sun, but otherwise doing all right. Yeah. Yeah, good. I'm excited. I'm excited for this.
Excellent. Now, I am very new to this, other than a couple of sort of technical setup runs just to make sure that sound worked and things like that. I have no idea what I'm getting myself into. But you are apparently a dab hand at this, so you can.
Well, I mean, I have played the game and I love the game, and I've done a little bit of research, so I can do a tiny intro if you'd like.
That would be very kind of you, just to let me know
All
what I'm in for.
right. Yes. Well, the Banner Saga, and one of the reasons I picked this for you is because if you're relatively new to sort of modern day video gaming, I think you'd be inclined to think it's all 3D, breaking down doors with big guns, running around yelling like soldiers at people, and it's really not. There's so much more to it. And this is one of those games that tried to do something a little bit new and a little bit special. So the Banner Saga was released in 2014 by Stoic Games, and it's a tactical and turn-based role-playing game with multiple pathways and endings. And you will find that you play as multiple people and races to tell the story of what happens to a Norse-inspired world when the sun stops moving. And it has any number of endings according to the choices you make. So it's a little bit like the fighting fantasy that you play with Ewan.
Okay.
Only I'm not misleading you in text. I'm actually in there with you. So there is an interesting thing about Stoic Games, because when we were talking about which game to play, you floated the idea of Knights of the Old Republic.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So what's interesting is the three developers who formed Stoic Games left BioWare Austin right after they'd finished working on Knights of the Old Republic. And
Really?
then they came to make this game. Yes. So
Okay.
this is the game. They were like, we want to make a game that we would love to play, and then hopefully other people would also want to play. They wanted to make something really interesting with new kind of stylistic and narrative choices and a way of working. But they were also excited to avoid that overdone elves, dwarves, and orcs dynamic, as they put it in an interview. And they felt that being so experimental, a large developer or studio might not want to fund it. So they took their idea of a Norse-inspired narrative game to Kickstarter, where they asked for $100,000, and by the time it was funded, they made more than $700,000 for Banner Saga.
Okay.
So because of the enormous amount of money, they were able to hire more people and make a bigger, more beautiful, more brilliant game. And they were then also inspired to try new and different art styles. They released a combat system that was entirely a new conception of their own as a standalone game, so people could get a chance to get used to it before jumping in with the story as well. Then the voice acting was performed in Iceland because they wanted something that could reflect Old Norse. But in fact, even though the studio they picked in Iceland was very good with Old Norse type stuff, they eventually recorded it all in English, just with lots and lots of accents, as you'll hear. The soundtrack has many, many famous soloists, and it was written and overseen by a fellow called Austin Wintory, who I think Chris is in the channel, so he will know his work from Monaco, What's Yours Is Mine, Journey, and I think he did Assassin's Creed as well. And it was widely nominated for a basket full of awards. Um, Originally conceived as a trilogy because the story was so long, it did so well with the first one that they went on to make 2 further games, and then a prequel, and then a board game, and there's a novel, and it just goes on and on and on. And it's impressive because in 2014, when this game was released, it was up against Dark Souls 2, Dragon Age, Inquisition, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, and well known to our channel, Alien Isolation, also released in 2014.
Okay.
So if people watching love it and haven't tried it, you can pick up all 3 games on Steam for just over £10. So I'd imagine that's about 15 of your American dollars. There we go.
Or thereabouts, yeah.
Thereabouts. And I will post my talking points in the Discord in the Ben Fiddles text channel at the end of this stream.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So I think, without further ado, let's find out how it handles, so to speak.
Yes.
Because, historically, I'm a little shaky on the dismount when it comes to these kind of activities, but we will see how it goes.
You do have good arms. Shaky on the desk mount, but good straight arms. I think you've got good form, Ben. You'll be fine.
I'm steady-handed, yes. Very, very steady.
Yes. And if you are watching in the stream, please do feel free to weigh in on the choices that Ben might have to make. They will have an impact on what happens to him in the game.
Yes, which is faintly terrifying, but also might turn out to be brilliant.
I wonder if we should have read that bit aloud. We didn't talk about that. Anyway, doesn't matter. The sun stopped, and they're naughty. That's really.
And the gods are dead, apparently.
The gods are dead.
Að sjá dreggjana á ferli neðanfor. It has been several long months on the road. The first signs of snowfall accost us on our approach to Strand, largest of the trade cities on the Val-human borders, and our last collection before returning to the capital.
Okay, so we're going to Strand, and this is on the
Several
Val-human
days
borders.
ago, the sun simply came to a stop in the sky. Though during these long winter days, none of us can be certain how long it has been this way. Some of the men in the caravan have taken it as a dire omen. I am not quick to superstition, but I myself will be glad to be done with this year's rounds. We have been warned by stranded travelers about brigands on the path through Ridgehorn, our road home. Our captain seems unconcerned. Perhaps he is as eager as I to be done here. We will rest here this day and inquire further when we speak to the governor.
Okay, governor. I do like the graphic style of this already.
Well, later on, I'm going to be asking you if you can guess who some of the influences are for the art style particularly, but also just the way the story flows.
Oh, it's all gone through this. Okay, some large horny people have arrived.
Hverfið á braut! Engan eigi ég hlut að máli þessu!
Okay, so immediately combat. This is going to go brilliantly. I'm good at combat. Okay, so drag around the screen to see your surroundings. Fair enough. So we have a nice big long hall of some kind. Good banner at the back. A chained up polar bear. Not fan of chained up polar
what do you get the Viking who has everything? I think is the question. I think
It seems cruel to chain up a bear, but okay. The portraits in the bottom left show the order of initiative, taking turns from left to right. That's fair enough. Your allies are blue, the enemy is red. That's actually quite handy, because I was wondering which side I am. So I'm the side of the giant horny dudes who broke in through the door. Excellent.
Yes.
My turn to act. Okay. Movement before action. Fairly traditional. Ring shows your shield banger is active. I do like that name. And the blue tiles around him show where he can move. Alright. Shield banger does not sound like a ranged weapon sort of character. Okay, and the Vol take up 4 tile, 2x2 square. Humans for the single tile. This can have a huge impact on strategy. Size, important. Okay, now it's actually telling me where to move to here. Because we're basically doing a tutorial.
Yes, it will walk you through this one fight, and then there's a bit more a bit later on, but after this you're pretty much on your own.
Cool. Okay, so you can attack strength or break armor. So he has 5 strength, but presumably that'll be mitigated somewhat by the armor he's got. Which is 4, if I'm reading that right. So I can knock his armor down by 2, or I can inflict a total of 5 damage. Well, let's just go for route 1 and see if we can hurt him. Oh, sorry. Have to do that first. Okay. Yes, please. Ooh.
Plonk.
I get some renown for this, apparently.
Oh, yeah, yes. Yeah. I wonder if we could instigate a CLD of some kind.
Maybe. Have to work out how to do it once I know a bit more about how the game plays. CLD could definitely be a thing.
That's clunk, locker, die. But locker is essentially run away. It's from the when we played Alien Isolation with Luke.
Yep. Okay. So, now this guy gets a turn. Alright. He's at full strength, but he won't do a lot of damage because of my shield banger's high armor. Well, it may not have been a lot of damage, but I still found it irritating. Okay. Gold tiles, a character can move further than usual at the cost of a willpower. Move Warhawk into attack range. Okay. So we do that, even though it's going to cost some willpower. Okay, and then we get a special ability that we can use to take on more than one person at a time. Apparently. It's called... what's that? Tempest? Am I reading that right? Tempest attack.
Mm-hmm.
Strike adjacent enemies in a spin attack. So if I do that, and then pick one of the 2 adjacent enemies... Excellent. Now, when there is only one enemy left, players enter pillage mode. During pillage, each character moves in order, and there are no more guaranteed turns. Okay, check the initiative to see how the order has changed. Your allies now get to move twice in a row. That seems very fair. If a character doesn't move on a turn, you can rest to gain a willpower. Chieftain will rest this turn. Okay, so he wants willpower back. That could be a mistake. Because he's kind of surrounded by big people. Now, apparently, yes, he's got 8, so won't be able to finish the job with a normal attack, but willpower can be used. So, let's attack here. Okay. Select an attack, and then do I click there, and then the stars above the fist. I guess that's it. And then we can do that. Excellent.
Beautiful.
Not only was he dead, he also burnt his toes on the fire pit. So I should get extra points for that, right?
And dinner, in fact.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
not cannibalism. It's just a little fella. You're a giant. It's
Like
fine.
a rabid wolf, that one. How did it come to this? We fool ourselves believing that peace will last. My grandfather built all this from a poor fishing village, you know. He watched the gods die, watched the chaos that followed, watched man and var slaughter each other, even before the dreads arose. All we've done is traded one struggle for another. Now that there are no more dreads to war against, we war against ourselves. This chieftain meant to kill me, and he's not the first. A dozen families in the city would gladly take my chair. This one had men waylaying merchants, both north and south of the city, strangling trade quite well, I would add, though he denied it to his last. This sort of wolf doesn't stop biting because the head is cut off. It just grows a new head.
Okay. So the Dredge are a former enemy,
My
right?
friend, help me finish this fight, and I'll
They are an
gladly
enemy,
send
yes.
you on your way with double our king's tithe. Take any men you need. They're loyal. I promise you that. They will meet you down in the proving grounds.
Okay, so we get double the tithe. That's what we're doing. We're basically tax collectors. I feel less good about us now I know we're tax collectors.
Well, I mean, I think at desperate times when you're the giant people who are perpetually putting your lives on the line, I think people should pay you for that.
I think they should, but doesn't mean I have to like the people who actually go and collect the taxes.
No. Well, no.
Okay, a familiar man who walks in step with you as you're leaving the Great Hall. Eric, steward of Strand. I manage the governor's business. Ubin. Ubin is me, is it?
Yes. I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
The governor tells me you'll be giving us a hand. I didn't exactly agree. He told me that I would be doing that, but I haven't actually agreed yet. It's up to you, but you've already got one foot in the door.
Hi, Mirka. Welcome in.
Welcome. Yes, thank you for joining us. Those men you left face down were Scalfings. We just want to make sure they don't come back. He means different Scalfings, right? We're not talking Rising the Undead Scalfings. We took down the chieftain. What's left of them? Not much. Never was much in the first place. Okay. So though the chap in the chair, so to speak, was quite worried that they were well organised and had intercepted trade both north and south of the town, Eric doesn't have much confidence in their tactical nous.
Yeah. Yeah, Eric. Oh, Eric.
Okay, going to the market down by the water. If there's anyone left to worry about, I know who can tell us. All right, so we've got a contact at the market who can tell us about these Scalfings and how we need to do it. Ah, okay. So we have a new screen here, and oh, I get it. Just wandering around to see if there's anything else that's illuminated yet. No, we're probably still in tutorial mode. So click the market tent to visit the merchant. Excellent. Eric says, let me handle this. I'm losing confidence in Eric. Okay. One man in particular blanches as you approach. Had. I'm not in the mood today. For what? Talking to an idiot. Had the idiot. Okay, we'll remember that. Had the Idiot is a character. Okay, so this is the guy who... He's obviously nervous about talking to us because he's at least partly in bed with Scalfings, and they're becoming a diminishing resource, close to... They're an endangered species at the minute. But Had the Idiot is convinced that we'll believe him when he says they don't communicate. So the question is, do I trust Eric enough to... I'm going to stay silent for the moment because I'm not entirely sure I'm in bed with Eric either. Oh, and Eric's decided to choose violence.
Completely unnecessarily. Show me what I want to know. All right, Eric, calm down, sport.
Had is actually that doesn't actually sound particularly scared, does it? Gods, Eric, laying it on a bit heavy, don't you think? It's a very British response, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Eric asks, "Where are the Scalfings?" And Had the Idiot responds, "Nobleman up by East Wall, but that was months ago, last I know." Okay. So Had skulks away, gathering things from his hovel. I feel less good about smashing his stuff now I know he lives in a hovel. Disappearing for a while until this blows over, you figure. Your bodyguard steps forward. Oh, Gunnulf. Okay, so Gunnulf is the bodyguard. I think he was with us in the fight in the chieftains thing, wasn't he? I think he was the other guy we were with. Actually, that's a fair question. I don't remember what he was wearing. Am I required to know that? I can't remember. So if I'm supposed to know that, I apologise. I've already let you down.
You had other things on your mind.
Oh, okay. He bought new clothing.
He did an Orbited Blues and went shopping on the way to doing crime.
I must confess, I'm not sure how I feel about my personal bodyguard deciding that in between the brutal fight to the death and the brutal fight to the death, there was time to make a quick costume change. I mean, do they look good? Actually, they do look good in the sense that they look very distinct from my own, so he'll be easy to spot different from me in combat. So I will tell him they look good. Excellent. He's glad I care. Gunnulf goes off to look at more stalls rather than actually going to fight the bad guys, which is his only reason for existing.
Hugging that sword like it's a baby.
At some point, is Thorin going to sit down and start singing about gold? That's what I need to know. Eric, that man of yours seemed unreliable at best. A blind dog wouldn't trust Had, but he used to be a Scalfing. If they're licking their wounds, they've probably gone to old haunts, not new ones. So they're not very bright then. Nobleman is a mead hall. I know what all of those words mean, but when you put it in that sentence, it's a bit confusing. Best I can tell, the name's ironic. Fair enough. Listen, I know a guy who'd love to put a few of these skulls in the ground. I'm going to find him. I'll meet you there. Okay, so broadly speaking, we're going to fight this evil tribe. We've got Eric, who we don't entirely trust, and he's saying, you get started with the killing and I'll join in when I get there, because he's going to find some bloke we've never heard of to help us. Meanwhile, the bodyguard I'm relying on as my right-hand man is shopping. This is going to go brilliantly.
And we're right at the start of the game.
I'm less optimistic about the next combat, it has to be said. Listen, I know a guy who'd love to put a few of these. Okay. Shouldn't we have approach? We don't need an approach. We're allies of the local lord. So we just need to turn up, bang on the door and say, come out and die. So just ask him where the place is. Nobleman is halfway up the hill towards the Great Hall. You won't miss it. Excellent. Just make sure the governor remembers his promise. Double the usual tithe. I'll remind him. Okay. So at least we're going to get paid. A lot. Okay. So... Oh, there we go. It doesn't say nobleman, but it does say Mead House in big glowing neon letters above it. Because neon was an important part of Viking culture.
I was just going to say, they've really harnessed that early.
Yeah, they did. It's one of those things that the archaeologists have kept to themselves for some reason. You arrive in front of what must be nobleman. A few minutes later, Eric appears with a weather-beaten man introduced as Valgard. I'll point them out, Eric says over his shoulder. Ready? Well, we're not going to sit it out, obviously. Okay.
It requires you to consider how surly you want to be in each encounter, I feel.
Yeah.
I think you're checking your surliness meter.
I'm going to go with medium surly, not... I'm going to sit this one out. Go in there and die without me. Okay. Valgard boots the front door open so hard it won't close again without repair. As you enter the hall, Eric is already at the head of a table, his axe drawn. Wide-eyed drunken scalfings scramble to find their own weapons, turning tables and mead steins in the process. Okay. So these guys are obviously seriously beneath the pale. They've spilt their drinks. Which...
Yeah, unacceptable.
Yeah, awful. Okay. Alright, this is interesting because we can kind of move somewhat, but not...
Well, this is the setup phase. This isn't combat yet. This is where you arrange your players in the field of battle, so to speak.
Alright.
So it's like deciding the party order in D&D. You're just deciding where each of them are going to stand, and then the combat will start.
Okay, so it looks like there are 8 of them.
Mm-hmm.
All clustered together. Now, if I'm reading this correctly, I think I'm, for some reason, standing by the open door and not interfering with play.
You've just come through the door. Your party there have just come through.
Yeah, but am I not this guy in the grey? Or am I this guy?
Oh! Yeah, you're just watching for now, I guess.
Okay. Well, then
No,
in
your
that case,
bodyguard's back from the shop. Look at him.
I feel really good about this combat now. Because I'm apparently not involved. This is going to go superbly. Right.
Oh, there you go. Ubin doesn't fight. He's a scribe. So he's the reporter that watches the car crash to get the scoop.
Excellent. So, basically, I need to either group my people together or spread them out and try and break up the opponents. What do you think? Having never played this before, I don't really know what's best. I suppose...
Well, bear in mind, you've got 2 really big fellas who can take quite a lot of hitting, and then 2 little fellas. Because you've got that fella over there on the far left as well.
Yeah.
I think he's Vanguard.
Okay, so this guy has 12 armour and 10 health. 11 armour and 9 health.
Yeah, he's pretty badass.
7 armour and 15. 9 and 8. So this guy, 12-10, is actually my... He's not my healthiest, but he's my best armoured.
Right.
So, what we're going to do then... This guy's a bit squidgier. He has something called Light Step, move through allies. So, and he can give willpower to allies at any range. So what I'm going to do is move him behind this guy. He can step through the line if he needs to. I'm going to move this guy over shoulder to shoulder. I'm going to move this guy over shoulder to shoulder. And then we'll engage actual battle.
Nice.
All right. Look at them. It's going to be butchery. I don't know if that's encouraging or discouraging at this point.
We're not sure who the butcher's going to be yet.
Yeah, he hasn't specified whether he thinks we're going to be doing or receiving said butchery. Right. Okay. So... I'm perfectly prepared to give myself a little bit more space. space to manoeuvre. So let's do that. I'm going to assume that everybody will be able to move at least this far. What does stone wall do? Blocks damage to strength and armour for 1 round. I think we'll do that. We'll let him sit tight and block damage. Okay. Alright. I probably have missed this, but what does the 7 mean in the little gold star at the top? Is that willpower?
Yes.
Okay. So he's still got plenty of that. In fact, except for the shopping chap, my personal shopper, as it turns out. Apart from him, everybody's got 7. So we're reasonably confident about that. Right. Okay. So.
Yes, but treat willpower as if it's super precious, because it's quite hard to regain it once it's spent.
Okay. Then in that case, this guy can do his thing at any range, and he can also move through allies. So I'm going to take a bit of a risk and move him forward, relying on the fact that the other guys won't necessarily get a big hit on him in time. He's got no one to attack. He can rally. Okay, that's the willpower transfer thing. Fine. Great. Now, I don't want to waste willpower for this guy. So, we're going to move him forward a bit and then let his turn end. Let them come on to us if we can. Good. This guy we can now move into the attack, and we will take on this fella here. Now he's got 9, hasn't he? Which is a lot. On the other hand, it looks like I can inflict enough to do him in 1. Good.
Plonk. And that's a solid plonking.
That's definitely a clog. Yeah. So, Merca, I haven't been keeping up with chat. I apologise, Merca. I should be paying attention to what you're saying, shouldn't I?
No, it's fine.
Did Gunnulf wear green or black in Strat? I don't know. I forgot. I didn't check. I'm now doomed. Because I didn't pay any attention to that, I now know nothing.
Oh.
Okay. So, broadly speaking, I've got this guy to go. He's a biggish lad, and he's probably going to hit quite hard, isn't he? So let's... oh, sorry. Didn't mean to do that. Let's move this guy, because that guy looks reasonably weak. So we'll take him on. We will hit this guy if we can. That looks like not quite enough. Okay, fair enough. But the others have kind of queued up behind.
They're doing the locomotion.
They are. Now this fellow in black, Eric.
Yeah.
He has a special skill which might be useful eventually to replenish willpower of others, but there's only one guy he can get close enough to hit. I'm just wondering if it's worth doing. Probably is, because the guy's already taken a hit. So we'll take a risk with him, and ooh, that's all he gets. This guy's taking a pounding and not going down. All right. Now, alright, so this guy, he can move only this far, but we're going to do it anyway and put him into the heat of the fight because there's a guy he can attack immediately, isn't there, right here. So let's take him on.
Ooh.
Okay, so I took a bit of a pounding there. Right. We can't get to there, we can't get to there, we can't get to there. So there's nowhere I can deploy my double strike thing. Well, that guy's got 12 apparently. That's a lot. So...
what is his armor doing?
3. So, okay. We can hit up to 8, it looks like, but can we... We're not allowed to up it with willpower, apparently. And we've only got 1 armor break, so I think we're going to have to... Or we've only got...
I think you could... Yeah, do that.
Okay.
You're going to hit him for 12, and I mean, that's going to ruin him.
That will do him, okay. Right.
And make you famous, my friend.
Excellent. Okay, this guy. Yeah, this guy is... he's only got 2 left. This should do him then, shouldn't it? And has done. But that's very annoying. Okay. We've got this guy left. That guy's only got 1. Some of these guys are relatively tough, but this guy... Oh, it looks like he's down to 3, not 1. Yes, please do, Mirko. If there are things I'm completely misunderstanding... Okay, so this guy looks like he's got armor 8 and strength 3. We're going to have to hit the armor somehow. Right, so what do these mean? Okay. It looks to me like I don't do much damage that way, does it? I hit him for 1 if I do that. I can knock down his armor by 1, seemingly. That doesn't seem much. Okay. Gunoff does not have exertion. It's a stat that shows how much willpower you can put in an attack. Okay, so it shows you how much additional damage and stuff you can add to it if you have willpower available. Fair enough. Let's try that.
Oh, I do love the sound effect.
Okay. So if I... Okay, so the damage you do is your character strength minus the opponent armor, and whatever's left over. Yeah. This guy doesn't have the multiple attack, does he? So... Since he can absorb damage, let's put him in a position to do so to an extent. And then let's pick someone to attack. This guy? This guy. Okay, let's go with this one.
Oof. It's going to leave a mark.
Yes.
I feel that.
Right. So this one here.
I mean, solid with a clonking, Ben. Look at that. He went down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, this one's going to be a bit tougher, but do that. And he should be done. We're taking a bit of a pounding, though, in places.
It's only Eric. I mean, it's Eric. Oh, no.
Okay. So if we take this guy on.
Very nice.
All right, so and that should finish him off. Okay.
And you left them all in a very easy to clean up pile. Well done.
That was delicate of me. So Gunnar's got a promotion.
Get the shaker back out at all.
10 renown. Okay. Could have done worse, I guess. I don't actually know if 10 renown is a lot to get, to be honest.
It's a start. It's a start.
There they are. Gods be damned. I've got to go wash off this blood. He only noticed them after we'd killed them, apparently. Okay. A fleet of longships approach with sails of bold reds and blues. Okay. One banner I know well. Vognir. Next to Val Kingship, last we spoke. And apparently the other flag looks important. Okay. You hoped I'd have a stake in saying everything's fine here when the royal guests arrived. Not me, the governor. Oh. Go clean up the entrails.
I forgot you said that.
Can I ask one more favour? Well, I've got to at least find out what it is before I tell him to go to hell, haven't I? If you happen to stall our guests down on the docks, I wouldn't object. Maybe I will, maybe not. Okay, so Eric and Valgard hustle from the meat house. We throw some silver to the barkeep for the mess, which is good, because, you know, obviously there was some mess. As you rightly say, it was contained, but still mess.
Mm-hmm. Nothing a bit Mr. Muscle can't solve there. It'll be fine.
Okay. Oh, I see. So the neon sign just shows you which one they expect you to go to next.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Yes.
So it's not...
When it's something that's specific to the next part of the story, then yeah, they'll like. But often you'll find that there's lots of different places that you can visit, and sometimes you'll only have time to do one or maybe two, and there's like 3 or 4. So it's sort of training your eye to start biding your time a little bit.
Okay. So there also seems to be a sort of, I don't know, empire building thing here up at the top, because we've got actual counts of clansmen, fighters and Varl.
Yes.
So I assume those numbers will change as we go through.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not going to say anything about that just yet, though.
Okay.
Because it's really a game of, I'd say a game of 3 parts. And that's probably a good chunk of one of them.
Okay. So, a familiar Varl steps onto the docks. In your mind, you recall a much younger version tramping the halls of Grofheim, abundant in purpose. Okay. Vognir. This is the one we recognise, the important banner. Gods, Ubin, you're looking ancient, he says. Comes with being old.
Rude.
And if there's Vognir, there must be Hakon. Okay. These people are, not entirely friendly. Okay, they are far from Arborang. Arborang sounds like somewhere you return from automatically, actually.
Bit like a boomerang, do you think?
I'm not surprised. Everyone comes back from Arborang. Okay. Hagen motions to other ships still fluttering. A golden wolf head emblazoned on red. Okay. The king of men, or someone on his behalf. The king's whelp. Okay. Ludin. Don't you know, Scrivener, we visit his capital, he visits ours. It's how you make alliances these days. It's a pretty traditional way to make alliances. Did he normally make alliances by just beheading people and then saying, you're an ally? Miserable waste of time. Okay. So they're going to Grofheim. Alright, so we may be travelling with them to Grofheim, possibly. So we've got to find Vognir tomorrow at the gates. Fair enough. What he's trying to say is the prince is a delight to behold. Where is Moga? Hakon, have him find a place to put up the warriors. I'm heading up to meet the governor. Merca, is that true? Excellent. Yeah, it probably would be kind of new for them. Have him find a place to put up the warriors. I'm heading up to meet the governor. Excellent. A host of giants depart in his wake. You recognise a few. You're going to go and find Moga. See you in the morning, Scrivener. Okay. I'll be along. Excellent. The young prince of men ambles from his ship. He brushes off his tunic, scanning the beach with low eyelids. Ludin looks for all the world the sort of boy who grew up pulling the legs from spiders. The long road back to Grofheim should be more interesting than most years, you think. Okay. So he definitely sounds like a prince in every sense of the word.
Yes. Yes.
Weariness settles in, you chuckle to yourself about what an odd day it's been. One of the governor's men at the Great Hall could find you a place to sleep. All right, that's encouraging. On the other hand, if you're going to join Vognir's caravan tomorrow, it might not hurt to share a drink with Hakon or introduce yourself to the prince. I'm guessing if we're travelling with Hakon, then we're going to have plenty of time to talk to him, and he may not be an old friend, but he's certainly someone we can chat with.
But he does sport a rather fancy Tom Selleck moustache as well, so...
Yeah.
I'm not overlook him entirely, he's a bit of a dude.
I'm seriously tempted to go and have a chat with this prince that I've heard such wonderful things about.
He certainly makes an impression.
So I think we're going to go and do that, and with any luck, that will turn out to be a brilliant decision. Is this the right place? You find the prince at an inn. Guards blanket the building, including a sharp-eyed Varl who must be working for Ludin. A woman in red eventually waves you over and stands nearby, arms crossed. Greetings, Prince Ludin. You're with Vognir, I don't remember you. Not exactly, but I'll be joining you on the return trip. Fair enough. Ludin looks up, and the woman doesn't react. Why? I work for the king. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm still a bit bitter about being a tax collector as well. What do you want? I don't know, I've got some spiders that still have, for some uncountable reason, still got legs.
Also, he's the recipient of the taxes. There's no need to be quite so snotty, I don't think.
I agree. What do you want? Just to introduce myself. I hope to learn more about you. I have a habit of recording history. I'm not going to ask him about him. Okay, let's talk about history. He's got to think he's important, hasn't he? Okay. Don't you already know your king and mine both have been practically trumpeting it through the cities? Vognir came to our capital in Arberang, and now we go to the Val's capital in Grofheim to cement this grand alliance for the next age of men in Val. Okay. You sound unconvinced. There's no need for it, and it's damn cold up here. Okay. Take the opportunity to excuse yourself. All right. So he's actually here to negotiate this alliance. Ah,
Yes.
you're right, Merker. I get to have both chats. We'll do that. Scrivener. Find Hakon in a mead house surrounded by other Val. Strand is no stranger to Val, but rarely sees this many. Went straight for a flagon. Vognir's the one who agreed to pass up a drink. I wasn't invited to the governor's hall anyway. You already missed the massacre. Damn it, was that at 3?
And here's me in my evening dress.
They gave me the wrong time. Every year I make the rounds collecting. Every year it's the human settlements that give me trouble. No surprise. When I got here, the Great Hall was already full of bodies. We added a few more.
It's very modest.
Yeah, absolutely. If I only lived as long as a Yox fart. Okay. I might be desperate to make something of myself too. It's not too late to start trying. Okay, so Hakon is a renowned sort of warrior.
He's a kind of act now, talk later type.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's irritated at basically just being protective duty for other people. Okay.
It's not. Yeah, it's like not man's work really.
All right.
Kind of resents not being out in the fight.
Well, so far I trust him more than most, it has to be said.
You like him because he's a drinker, Ben. Because he went straight to the pub. That's how you win your sympathies.
I do like him for that reason, yes.
I like his moustache.
Yeah. Okay, and now we get the illuminated Great Hall to go to. Fantastic. We got some supplies, apparently. At dawn, you're awoken by delivery of goods. At least you think it's dawn. Damn hard to tell with a sun that never moves. It's a good point. Can it ever be dawn if the sun doesn't move? The governor's crest adorns the supply leathers. All there just as promised to your mild surprise. Okay. The guards take the treasure wagon down to the gates. Vognir's already here, and then Ludin and his men appear, groggy and dishevelled. Moga steps forward. Vognir's quartermaster, if you recall correctly, in charge of his unwieldy entourage of warriors. Yes, we are ready to depart whenever you are. Apparently, that's my only option at this point. You follow Moga and join the others. You have to push open the big gates. Frustrated, tired people. It summarises the place as a whole. Good. Okay. We now have a 1, which is probably a good thing. Where we didn't. So. Ooh, look at that.
Isn't it lovely?
That's amazing. A teeny little animation of us moving. Ooh. Morale declined.
So the more you push forward, the more distressed your people become.
Okay.
And the more you press, the more cheerful they become, but the more supplies you use up.
Gotcha.
And also, you're being pursued by something unpleasant that you're not quite aware of
The
yet.
caravan stops for the day. A gift, says Moga, cracking open mead casks from our gracious friend, the Governor of Strand. Drink a little, drink a lot, or toast to Vognir? I feel like this is a trick question. Obviously, I'm going to drink a lot. It is my way.
You were expecting the double whammy. I knew you would take that option. I knew it.
Yep, I'm perfectly happy to drink a little and then drink a lot, you understand? And I don't mind toasting at the same time.
Yes, Mark says all of the above, and cheers, Mark. I
Yep.
agree.
Cheers. Yes, morale improved. There you go. Drink a lot, morale improved. All right, so we get woken up, but we appear to have done well with the drinking. Oh, it's Ludin. Always a pleasure. You look well rested. How long to Grofheim? Only 2 days out of Strand, you know. Come, I'll show you on a map. That could be interesting, because I don't really know how big the different distances are at this point. Alright. So, map of the world. And you can explore by dragging the mouse around. Okay. Ubin's icon will show where the caravan is, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, things light up. Okay, so there's...
Oh, well done, Spinland. Cheers.
long snowfields. Okay. So this territory is almost entirely Val. That's that bit. Okay. This is
So you
Strand.
can mouse wheel out, and then you can scroll and see like the entire scope of the world. But I'm rather fond of this map. I think it's rather good.
Yes, don't have a mouse wheel.
Oh, what are you playing on?
Laptop.
Oh, then I have no advice for you.
Right, so we've come from Strand. This is where we left. Okay, so that's just the name of it. This is the actual place. And we've made it to Verdfell, and we're heading in this direction.
Yes.
Oh, we have quite a long way to go. Don't know what
Yes.
that is. And we've got... There's Grofheim. So if we do that... Oh, it's up there, between the two spears. So broadly, we're probably going to head up this way, I would imagine.
Yes.
In order to get there. The Hanged Man. That's definitely an optimistic name for a mountain. Good. Alright. And then...
So optimistic, isn't it?
Sklid? Sklid. A fort built by the Val. Okay, so we're definitely moving into Val territory, because
Yes.
Strand was right on the sort of human Val edge, but this is all Val all the time up here. Okay, this is good. So we know roughly where we're going. And it took us 2 days to get there, so it's going to take us, what, at least another 10 or 12, something like that.
Assuming
at minimum.
no untoward incidents on the road.
Yeah.
But that's not the game we're playing, is it?
It seems unlikely, yeah. We head north, then east past the forts. Grofheim's far from Strand, going to be a long march. Good. You should have drank last night. Why not take the ships to Skirmisted? What's the... Skirmisted. More like 50. Okay. What's the point of marching? The Silverstone Bay is called that for a reason. It's covered in ice. Okay. A half-sunken city crawling with dredge, and glaciers. You like glaciers? Well, I suspect I like them more than dredge, from what I've heard. Okay. Yeah, alright, so... I do like Vognir. And Ludin's got a shorter wick than Hakon, really. Thanks, Vognir. Let's get moving. Another half day to Vedafell if we're lucky. All right.
I think Hakon's just allowed to hit stuff when he gets annoyed, whereas Wagner has to be somewhat more reserved.
Okay. During travel, you can enter camp at any time by tapping the camp button. When at camp, you can upgrade allies or equip items in the heroes. You can pass time by using the rest tent, which will improve morale, affect willpower. Okay, but it will cost us supplies.
Yeah.
Training will allow us to try things in mock battle. Okay. So that's rest. There. Heroes is over here. Training. Leave. Okay.
So, well, don't forget you've got a level up as well. One of your heroes leveled up. So if you click on the heroes tent, it will walk you through
Okay. Yep.
how to promote them.
Okay. Click on a unit to view stats, promote ranks, and learn about abilities. All right. So if we do that, Moga. Click on the ability button. Bring the pain. Okay. This obviously I'm going to have to learn a bit about how this combat functions because I'm starting to get a sort of XCOM 2 vibe that you're going to have to learn what abilities each character has and how to use them in combination.
Yes. A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, that will be fine. Okay.
So also he's better at breaking. So if you've got some very heavily armoured baddies, he's the guy that you want acting. Because sometimes you'll find that you won't be able to do anything before the armour's broken.
Right. And I can promote Gunnulf.
Mm-hmm.
So we will try that. Promotion. I can higher stats and increase your item rank. Do I get to pick, or do I just do...
No, you get them both, so you
Get
hit
them both.
continue.
Do I want to promote for 5 renown? Yes, I seem to be awash in renown at the moment for some reason. This unit has points available. He is a big unit, there's no question, to spend on improving stats. So, 2 points available. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, I see. Improve one of these. So, what do we think? Do we improve... I don't know what that is. That's will, isn't it? I know that's useful. This guy hits hard.
Mm-hmm.
So... Strength is damage and health. This guy's a hard hitter. Exertion is the amount of willpower you can use on any given action. Break is the amount of direct damage you naturally do to an enemy's armour. Okay, alright. Then we definitely want a bit of exertion to give me the option to use willpower.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm tempted to say... Let's make him naturally reduce more armour when he hits someone. Good. We'll go with that. It may not be the very best thing to do, but it'll suffice.
It's your first play and you're still learning. We're still really early in. I think go with what you feel at the moment you understand and are comfortable with moving forward.
Cool.
And you'll grow from there as things progress.
Moga, Hakon, Ludin. Okay. So Ludin, despite being, a famous prince, is a rank 1 spearmaster.
Yes.
Mind you...
But he's well armoured and he does a decent amount of damage. Oh, it's not Luke, I'm afraid, Quit. It's Fids and Ben tonight. But hello, nice to see you.
Nice to see you, Crit. Thank you for joining. Right.
That made me really sad for a second. Luke, is that you? Having to say no to something so plaintive. I'm sorry.
Sorry, Crit. I apologise for letting you down. Okay, so that's the party. So this is our people, and we've got the same people here on the roster. So, okay, so basically we can...
But also, if you look, it says turn order, so you can decide in which... it's building for 1 minute of wisdom. Which order they go in.
Yes.
So you've got to think about, do you want your breaker to go in first and have a go at everybody's armour? Do you want the most heavily armoured person to move first so that they can absorb all the damage? And you can change this at any time when you're on the road. It's not, this is how I play and this is how I'm always going to play. As you move through, you might find that other people get different abilities or, something more or less interesting for the situation you face.
Okay. And the roster will obviously contain more characters than I can deploy, because I can... It looks like I can have up to 6 at any time in the party, but I might have more than that in the roster.
Yeah, well, you've already got more than that in the roster, I think, haven't you? No, not quite.
Not at the moment. It looks like I've only got 4 in both at the moment. Okay.
But they're... Yeah.
I'm not completely convinced that Ludin meets my definition of the word hero.
He doesn't drink very much, so that's going to be a disappointment.
Exactly. He's clearly, useless
I know you
for anything.
do well by now, Bucky.
Okay, we've got 66 days of supply, so we do have enough to make a fair old journey. We're now in 31. That's how we get to the map and back. All right. Okay.
So it's very tidily and elegantly presented.
Training.
It's a very simple interface that does an awful lot with very little.
All right. Good. At the moment, I'm not too worried about any of those things, so let's leave and... Yes, thank you. Okay, it does seem to be the case that you get people.
In from the bay.
You want them to be heroes, you have to play them heroically.
Most are just men driven from Strand with nowhere else to go. Why else would anyone stay? We won't stop long.
Okay. By Hudderborg, that's a lot of vol for some missing cattle. Yes, I don't know about the missing cattle. Expect an army. Where have your cattle gone? Boys have seen men up in the hills carrying them away. They've carried away the cattle. These are big people who've taken those cows, aren't they? Yeah. Don't know many men who can hoist a whole cow. Scalfings with Val working for them. Now take a look around and get camp set up. Okay. We'll be here no more than a day. There's silver for any food you've got. Hundreds of Val, are you serious? What have you sell? Okay. Where's Ludin? Oh God, has he got in trouble already? Ooh. Alright. Okay, so I'm supposed to click once there. And then once there. Okay. Spearmen can attack diagonally. That's useful to know. And up to 2 tiles away. Click the top right banner to compare your stats with the enemies. Okay. Wow. 15-16 looks bad.
Yeah, and there's 3 of them.
Yeah. Wait a second. A couple of 8-10s and a 15-16. All right.
Exactly the kind of fight you like to avoid, then.
This seems terrible. Okay, right, now. Armour blocks attacks on strength. For each enemy armour higher than your strength, there's a 10% chance the attack will be deflected. Notice the chance to hit shown above the attack button. Attack this enemy's strength. Okay. So it wants me to do this even though it doesn't do a lot. Okay. Deflected attacks do no damage. From here on out you will fail catastrophically if you don't break armour. Damaging strength and armour is equally important. Good. Okay. This has not gone well so far.
It's fine. His big boys have turned up. He's going to be alright.
Alright, so these are the guys who are happy to juggle cattle on their way through. Okay, so this fella, let's move into attack. Go after him. Hit his armour. He's a big lad, so let's go
There
for
are
some...
a lot of similarities between this and Fighting Fantasy, it's true.
Go for that and see what we can do.
No, Banner's lasted significantly longer in this game than he did in Fighting Fantasy.
Yes, much longer.
Has to be said.
Okay. I think we should at least try to distract. Do that. Okay, do that one. And then attack this guy. Go for armour as well. These guys are all fairly well armoured.
Yes.
That was deflected, unfortunately.
These, I don't know if you've noticed, but these are in fact the dredge that we've been talking about.
Okay. These guys are frankly no fun at all. Okay, so
They don't even like beer.
attack
It's an
him.
outrage.
Oh wait, hang on a second. No. Try this again. Right. So this time we can do that. Yes, you're right. Dredge brute. It says. I hadn't noticed that. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
All right. Now, what I was hoping here is I thought this guy had that special spin attack.
Well, he does have a special attack if you have a read.
Okay.
At the bottom there, where it says
Yeah.
Splinter.
So that's theoretically worth doing, but I think actually we're close enough to wipe this guy out, aren't we? He's only got 2 left on his health.
He has 6 on his health and 2 on his arm.
Ah, wrong guy. Okay. It's me who's dead, not him. That's the mistake. Alright. Okay. Okay, right. If we bring into here, and then attack this guy, he's still got lots of armour.
They're mean. They are mean.
Oh, damn it. These guys are taking a lot of punishment. If this offers me a bonus. One down.
Nice. Well done. And the bad one. That was the bad one, too.
Alright. 8, 10. 6, 10. I guess one at a time is the way to do it, so let's go for this one first. Only 3, but enough to hurt him. So this one again. We don't get any significant bonus, but he hasn't got much armour left, so this will definitely wound him, and quite a lot, which means this guy is going to be able to finish him easily.
Beautiful. Pillage time.
80% hit, but he's got way too much armour.
Don't forget as well, you can move and rest. You don't always have to attack.
True, but it's
It's a moment. You're in a moment. It's okay.
If we do that, we're not doing enough there. This is definitely the one to go for. It's probably worth, because his ability to hit is also reduced if he's wounded.
Mm-hmm.
Probably reached the point where it's worth hurting him. Quite a lot. Because it will significantly reduce his ability to damage me now that his armour's knocked down to a relatively trivial amount. Relatively.
Done. Fame.
Okay.
Increases.
Got a promotion for the Moga, who is apparently alive. Gunnulf is injured, but apparently not dead. That's encouraging.
Yes,
Okay.
we like Gunnulf.
Trying to get yourself killed. I mean, to be fair, he did reconnaissance by sticking his throat in the way of blades. Trying to get a shot in between. Yeah, that's almost exactly what I said he was doing, only put with a very different spin on it. Okay. Where did they come from? Big number, Kurt. Yes, I think you're probably right, Mark. And I suspect that I will probably get better at balancing the attacks and working out how to do things. But it's that combination of trying to reduce their firepower so they harm you less at the same time as waiting until you've knocked their armour down enough so you're at least doing some damage. Ooh. Oh. Now that is definitely a step in the wrong direction, because we liked him.
Well, yeah.
Because he was a drinker.
Yeah, old Wagner.
Oh. Oh, well, this happened fast. Okay, deployment happens. I mean, we don't seem to have so much option in terms of deployment here. You know, we can't really move much. Click your units to deploy them in the blue squares. Click ready. We might as well just go for it because we can't.
Because I missed it on my first play, I will point out that they are both ranged characters. So the first time I played, I did not really clock on to the fact that they both had bows, and so I was wasting a lot of time and effort doing stupid things.
Then in that
So
case,
it's worth noting
let's
that
buy them the distance we can. Okay. So as far as I'm aware, the only enemy is there. Right. So we will move to there. Okay. Mark prey, does armor, break damage, all allies within range attack the marked target. That actually sounds quite handy. Okay, this is Rook. So Splinter, damage to dredge causes 1 arm damage to all adjacent dredge. Okay, tremble. Alright. This is a starving dredge apparently. Alright. Okay. Can we attack, in fact? Okay. We have longer range, but not, like, across the whole map. Fair enough.
no.
Okay, then in that case, we will...
Well, it's worth moving forward because then you've got space to retreat back into if it gets a bit hairy.
Yeah, you're right. So if we... Alright. 1 second. I don't know if this will quite bring 11 to range, but let's try it. Not quite. Okay.
You didn't attack?
Out of range.
Uh,
So, as it turns out, they can't... if their maximum range, if you know what I mean, is sufficiently short that he can always cross it in one go, basically.
So yeah, Merc has just said that the attack range is equal to movement range for all characters, so it's easy to figure out where you can hit from. Blunk! Crunch. I'm not going to do spoken sound effects. Like watching an old episode of Batman.
let's split the fire as best we can. Okay.
Only move one forward. Oh, it's okay. You're fine. This is the first ranged fight. They just want you to start to come to terms with the mechanics of it.
Okay.
Very nice. Go on, Alex.
Right, so Rook can also melee, apparently. Okay. Fair enough. Was that a dredge? I must say, I admire someone who shoots something and then goes, so was that a bad guy or what?
It's very Victorian botanist in a way, I feel.
The light looks calm, but you can tell her heart is about to beat right out of her chest. Rook. It was, let me see, are you hurt? Well, they both got a bit grazed, but by making them basically attack one and then the other.
Yeah.
Okay. All that food, that's the last we're going to get before winter. What do we do? Who's watching the howl with, huh? Let me think. Okay. Supplies sound important to me. Let's try to hurry and get them in before more dredge appear.
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear him. My cat suddenly decided he needs love. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Plus 15 supplies. Yep. Spotted how many days of supplies you have left. Most towns will have supplies to sell as well. Okay. Wow, we are suddenly very much down on supplies.
Also, look, you've got nobody in this particular group. There's just Rook and Alex. So they are hot-footing it away from the dredge.
I never expected to see the dredge with my own eyes. What happened in the north? Already we see
So,
more between
would
the
you
trees as
like
we
to take a
approach our
break
home,
in a
and
minute?
the lead grips my
Yeah, that
hand
actually sounds
tight.
like a good idea.
We must find
Then when we
Ivor.
come back, I can see how many influences you've spotted, or tell you what they are if you haven't spotted.
Yes, I suspect it may be the latter one.
Well, I mean, once I say them, because honestly, I knew maybe one or two of them, but it wasn't until I did the research for this stream that I was like, oh yeah, actually that really tracks. But you're a bit more of a movie buff than me, so I think you're going to pick up on more of them than I did.
It could be. Okay. We found Ivor. Dredge everywhere. Yes. Yes, I spotted that. Alright. They'll be here soon if they're not already. And then you hear screams. Okay, people are running towards the Great Hall. Ivor turns to one of the older boys in his group of fighters. Egil, take a let to the Great Hall, tell the chieftain what's happening. The rest of you gather up as many people as you can. Come on, Alette. I think he has a crush on Alette. No, wait. I want to help.
Oh, I sweat, sorry.
She has actually achieved a dredge kill already. I'm not going to have her sent away from the fight. Okay. So there's shouts on top of a nearby hill. And I'm guessing up there is nearby hill with shouting going on.
Yes.
However, I am not going to click
Sound.
that just yet. We are going to take a break for just a few minutes. It will only be sort of 5 minutes. And thank you for the hint, Merker. When I initially saw it, I thought, what the hell had happened to all my supplies? And then I realised they were going in the other direction and there weren't any people in it. So it was like, oh, right. So this is actually a completely different caravan. Right, I will... what I will do is... I will pop us into a sort of holding pattern for a few minutes while I have a quick breath of fresh air outside the heat in my house and be back in just a few minutes.
Yes. See you in a minute, people.
And we're back. Thank you for staying with us if you have, or fast forwarding if you were vodding. We we are now about to resume, but before we do, you said something about the influences on it.
Yeah. So in several interviews, the devs were really specific about the things that they wanted to pull from to make this game, and they had a very clear idea of what they were aiming for in terms of the emotion and the direction. But when it comes to the art and the music and sort of the driving impetus of the game, there were things that they mentioned over and over again in their interviews. So there are three particular artists, and they are animation artists who I'm certain you can get one of them, or even just one of the productions that they've worked on that heavily influences the visual style of this game. And I'm just wondering if you could have a stab at guessing one of them.
I'd be tempted to say, and I can't remember the name of the guy, but he did the animated Fellowship of the Ring.
Yes, Ralph Bakshi is his name.
Okay,
and
yes.
he's indeed one of the mentioned. And I think they consulted him on a couple of things as well, especially when it came to there's some motion capture and stuff that they wanted to feel natural, but also like it was animated. And of course, in the 1978 Lord of the Rings, there was a lot of the mocap live action in front of an animated background, which worked peculiarly well. But yes, that is definitely one of them. You want to have a stab at another? There's one that you will actually facepalm if you don't get it.
I can't think of anyone else in the animation style.
Okay. Shall I tell
Yeah,
you the other
please
two
do.
that come up a lot? So the first one is Don Bluth, who did, of course, Land Before Time, The Rats of Nim.
Okay.
And I feel the way the characters move is very much of his
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, that
and the
makes
coloration that's slightly faded. And then the third one that comes up a lot is a fellow who we really should know more about, but he's kind of faded to obscurity. His name is Eyvind Earl, and he did the concept art for the animated Sleeping Beauty, the original Sleeping Beauty film.
Really?
Which, yeah. And he is so celebrated by Disney that they did a 3-month exhibition of his work at Disney World. So other influences include Neverending Story, where you've got characters endlessly having to move forward because they're being chased by darkness and sort of annihilation.
Sure, but
you've
you could
got-
also add Battlestar Galactica to that if you want.
Yes, that's an interesting. I don't think I've seen that one come up, but that is certainly. Well, I mean, it's of its time, isn't it? But
It
I
is.
think because it's in a sci-fi, not a.
Yeah.
But definitely.
I mean, I assume
repopulating
some of the
new
tone is
colonies.
probably stolen either from Icelandic sagas or from things like Beowulf, Anglo-Saxon setting.
There's certainly that feel to it.
Yeah.
But there are two games as well that come up fairly often. One of them is one that I'm not familiar with. It's called The Shadow of the Colossus, which was released in 2005.
Not
And I
familiar
know
with
nothing
that.
about it. But the other one is an absolute stunning classic. It's the Oregon Trail, which you can totally feel.
Oh, you can. Yes, of course you can see that. It's resource management and decision making.
Yeah, and how much crap you've got left, and do we stay or go? How many packets of chewing gums are in your pocket? Yeah. So it's I found it really curious when I was researching tonight to find out what the devs, because you get what the press tell you and you get what Wikipedia tells you, but I wanted to read interviews by the three original devs themselves, and they were, I mean, very generously naming all sorts of stuff, but these were the ones that came up again and again. And I feel particularly with the Rats of Nim, that kind of it's there's a comfort to around the immediate boundaries of the character, but then as you get further and further away, it gets more and more sinister.
It does. I mean, obviously they've done it with purely computer-based animation, but it does have that feel of layered cell animation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's beautiful, and the way the scene moves, so you've got all the different layers, and the way they fade as well, like cell-based animation used to.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, just looking at the scene now, the way the snow is falling, the kind of The color palette is very Donald Bluth. It's really beautifully done. And you can see why back in 2014 they didn't really think that somebody was going to finance this game. Particularly Skyrim released 2 years earlier and changed everything when it came to, the revival of Nordic mythology and open world gaming and this big everlasting adventure. So it's really, I think they did a really, really lovely job. And I'm so thrilled that you're playing it. I really am. But yes, the Nordic mythology written by Neil Gaiman. There was loads of stuff that they pulled in. But also, you can understand why people working on Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic might want to do something a bit different. And they went so different in this game.
Well, they did in terms of the look of it, but it's very similar in the...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, almost identical in terms of the fact that your choices are almost all made by conversation branching, and then just choosing where you go, basically. But almost all of the decisions are done by going somewhere and then talking to people, and it's also a turn-based combat system.
Yeah.
With obviously different weapons and different things like that, but very much
But Knights
turn-based.
has a sort of more cumbersome. My understanding is it has a more cumbersome combat with many more stats and things to consider and skills and options available. I feel that this is very pared down in comparison, maybe.
I don't think I'd say that. The Knights of the Old Republic combat system is it's turn-based, but it isn't static. You can pause it at any time and queue up moves and do things like that, or you can just play it live. But the characters themselves still take turns.
Right.
It's a little bit different. Positioning and things like that are much less important. You don't have to worry about moving to attack and things like that in the same way. You just say, I want to attack that, and your character goes and attacks.
Nice.
But Knights of the Old Republic is, if at least at earlier, at lesser enemy levels, you don't have to really make a plan in combat. You can play it by ear and then just make changes as you go. You can adapt as you play. So it's significantly faster, shall we say?
Yes.
Knights of the Old Republic.
The thing I found about this combat is it's not just about hit it. Like to take Skyrim as the comparison, which is a completely different game, of course. But enemies are there for you to kill them. That's their explicit purpose. You kill them, you get stuff, you carry on. Whereas I feel the enemies here are more of a... You have to really think about them. You have to really engage in what your strategy is going to be, and what your characters are able to do. And in that way, I find this game at once more forgiving because you've got much more time. You can take all the time you want to sit and think about it if you need to. Yeah. But also, it's more punishing because once you're committed, that's it. There's no takebacks. You just have to move forward with what you've chosen at that point.
Yes, I suppose the biggest difference is that with Knights of the Old Republic, you get quite a lot of abilities that affect the whole party. Because of that, when you get a significant number of Jedi in your party, you can sort of set one of them up to boost the stats of your allies. To give everyone a boon, if you like, a bit of a bonus going into the fight, while the others are actually taking on the enemy themselves directly. Because all turns kind of happen in turn, you therefore, when it's your turn, you can get those things happening simultaneously, which can be very handy, but it does mean you have to kind of flick between the characters quite a lot as you play. But because they only ever allow you 3 in any given scenario, it doesn't take that long.
Yeah. So had I not told you this was by the same guys that worked on Knights of the Old Republic, would you have guessed, do you think?
No, but I don't think I'd have connected that. But as soon as you said it, it was like, Oh yes,
The light went on.
cutscenes, conversation trees
yeah.
that actually set the plot, and then a turn-based combat system. It is
Nice.
very similar. The only difference so
That's
far,
really interesting. Yeah.
the only difference so far is that with Knights of the Old Republic, you have a lot of parallel quests that you can do in various orders, and you can choose which to take on and which not. And instead of them always affecting the outcome, which they do at the very end, what happens more commonly is that they affect the way in which your character develops. So effectively, you can choose to become a better person or a worse person, depending on whether you want to lean towards the light side or the dark side.
Is there a drunker person option?
There is not, but there should
Well,
be. Yeah.
I always felt like Jedi's would be more tolerable if they drank more.
I would agree with you, and I've never, unless you count the entire cast of the Star Trek universe, the Jedi, I think, are the people in all of fiction who need sex more than anyone else.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not going to disagree. I've got to be honest. I'm just going to nod sagely on that point.
So, let's find out what's at the top of this hill where the screaming came
Yes,
from.
let's get rolling.
Dredger gathering in number. I mean, sure, that's faintly scary, but it's going to be more scary when we find out what the number is. How long do we need to keep this up, you ask? He doesn't know. Okay, so we've got to hold them off, haven't we? That's the thing. Okay. Drag the unit icons to rearrange their turn order. Okay. We know Alette is pure. Well, she's actually disappeared completely. We don't want her to disappear completely.
Oops.
There we go. I'm tempted, therefore, to do something like that. We will try it. And we have an item, which is Alette's bracelet. +1 armor, +1 strength, and +1 will. That's very useful. Okay. That sounds actually quite helpful. All right. And they are all level 1 people. Okay. That was obviously the wrong thing to do. Okay. How do we...
So Spinner wanted to know if you need to assign the bracelet to Alette, and Merker wants you to know that archers are static, and that you should read Alette's passive to get an understanding of what that means.
Okay.
So thank you
I have
both.
Alette. Passive. That may not be where it is. Abilities, armor. Could it be?
Oh, abilities at the top.
Yeah, maybe it is. Hang on a second. Click on the icon for more information. Okay. So she's got thread the needle. Or a passive ability, puncture. Okay. By standing still, the archer is able to line up a shot that takes advantage of enemies' missing armor. Okay.
So the longer she stays still, the more badass she becomes.
Alright, so she's got an active ability and a passive ability. So because it's passive, presumably that means I don't actually have to do anything with it. She just gets better because of that. Understood.
Exactly.
Okay. Alright. So moving and then shooting with an archer is a mistake. Good. Okie dokie. Yes, ready for battle.
You got this. You got this. You're going to be fine.
I doubt I've got this. Right. Okay, let's take a look around quickly. There appear to be 4 of them. And one of them's very, very big. Alright. So let's start with the obvious. Alette is out on her own.
Interesting.
Hang on a second. I don't want her out on her own. So let's pop her in here.
So Mocha has said that as the passive needs 1 turn to kick in, if your archer can make it towards the end of the battle, it becomes something of a killing spree because they just power up so much. You didn't equip the item, by the way. You need to go back and get it.
Hang on a second.
Oh, I don't know that you can. I think you're locked in now.
Okay. I clicked it and it dropped into a circle and showed up with her. But maybe that doesn't equip it. Right. We're going to up him back to here. Him up here. Let's go. The one with the shield looks like trouble. I really agree. Yeah, the one with the shield does look like trouble. Okay, so let's start with the obvious. If we march to here, then hopefully I'll draw the attention of the one front right as well. And what does battering ram do? Knocks the target back through multiple tiles, doing armor break damage. Up to 4 tiles for 1 break, plus 1 per unit they pass through. Okay, let's save that for when there's an actual unit they can pass through. Alright, and instead do that one, I think, and let's try and reduce his armor substantially. This guy's not going to get into combat range against him this turn. So let's make use of him anyway. Fours, not bad. But that's better. You cheeky bugger. Ignoring.
He's a very naughty boy.
Very. The 5's probably worth doing, I would think, especially if we can bulk it up a bit. Okay. She can't attack at that kind of range. And
She can attack another one though.
if she moves, she's less useful. So,
She won't move. Yeah.
and we can't reach him. Okay. So what we're going to do...
She could just rest, maybe. I'm not sure what she's got at the moment. Oh, she's in great shape. No, she's fine.
So maybe what we're going to have to do Yeah, if I do that, that guy then turns red, but so does this guy. So let's find out what damage we can do there. That should be enough to see him off.
He is quite the archer, that one. That's 2 under her belt. I wonder if she's
She
collecting
really is.
scalp.
This
Or
has
like, I don't
been-
know, breeding hair extensions.
So we can do that guy in 2, can't we? And reduce his thing, but we'll do that first. Now this guy. Okay. Sure. Why not? Wow, only 30%. And this guy's got a huge amount of armour. So I guess we've got to reduce it somewhat. We can hit this guy. No, we're not in range to do that. Alright, so hang on a second.
I would move that guy anyway, just to try and protect her a little bit, maybe.
He goes as far as that. He's got both of them in range.
Nice.
So let's do that. Then
Go on, Brooke.
if we... That guy's got no armour left. At all. This guy's got, you know, all of the armour. So let's try and trim him down a bit. So, what are her stacks on doing this? He's too heavily armoured for her to do much. If she goes for him instead, okay. That's an enormous amount of damage she does without even needing anything else. So let's finish that one off.
Beautiful.
You're starting to annoy me, this big guy. He's very irritating. And I can't get to any of those, so... all we can do, I suppose, is get a bit closer to the action. We can't do any damage, so fair enough. Next. Alright. If we do that, we'll knock his armour down a bit at least. This is very unsporting.
Ooh.
Okay. Now this guy can attack here, can't he? But the sheer damage is a problem. Could. Dent him a bit. Okay, this is bad. Very, very bad. Okay.
It is a difficult one. Learning how to place archers was something that I really struggled with when I played. Because I'm very much a, you know, all for one. And what comes out, comes out.
Mm-hmm. Did that, but still not doing much damage on it because, frankly, we're quite badly wounded with this guy. We might as well do that and make him very vulnerable. In theory. Okay, we are apparently one-on-one.
Right, so yeah, look at Rook's ability. Oh.
Rookie's down,
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
Yeah, it was a tough one.
Okay. We did, however, take a lot of, hopefully still wounded, rather than dead. These aren't posthumous promotions with any luck. Yes, injured. Injured.
Well,
And
they
injured.
haven't really explained what the horn is for yet, Burka. They've mentioned it very briefly, but they haven't really said what it's for.
Okay. Black Horde is forming at the tree line.
Oh, the only okay, fine.
Okay.
I didn't realise.
Given how hard
Right,
that
so there's
was,
a very good chance that
we're going to go back immediately this time.
Yes, I would. Yeah.
As you
Oh
turn your head
dear.
back, a colossus appears around the side of a house. It looms over a lead, its face an expressionless stony mask, more terrifying than any roar it may have produced. Time seems to slow as it pulls back its enormous mace. I mean, truthfully, I feel I could both shout at a lead and do either running or shooting at the same time.
Oh, you're very good at shouting.
I am.
You're a natural multitasker when it comes to shouting.
Given that, generally speaking, this is sort of D&D style combat in the sense you have to hit things a lot before they go down,
Yeah.
I think shouting has to be the one to go. Oh no.
Go on, Eggle.
Oh no. Okay. Thank you. We didn't really get to know him very well, did we? But now he's gone. No family. Forgotten what it's like. Yeah, out of practice. Oh. Yes, this would be the time to start talking. Okay. So, they are relentless, apparently. Alright. This is not so straightforward.
No.
The Menders were there. Haven't heard of the Menders before, I don't think. Now you've fought your fair share. I've killed enough slag for one lifetime. That's why you're going to save us now? Don't lay that on me. Come on, let's get inside. So I think I was right about Egil having a bit of a crush on Alette, because he laid down his life for her.
He did a Brian Adams, didn't he? Bless him.
Yeah. Okay. Alright, so this is Great Hall, Heroes. So presumably heroes we can visit in order to do our promotions and things. And to be fair, one of our injured units one of our injured units is in fact now dead. So he won't heal that well.
Yes. On the plus side, though, it's not going to be taking up any of our supplies anymore either.
Well, that's
silver
true.
lining.
So one days.
Boy, that boy could eat.
All right. Alette. We can promote Alette, so let's do that. Higher stats and item rank, that's good. Yes, I think so. And then we can bonus up certain things. I'm tempted to bonus up again the armor thing. Armor seems to be a big thing, so if you can...
Yeah, it seems like that's a multi-purpose that's always going to be helpful.
The other thing, of course, is to just increase her sort of vigour and her armour itself. 2 points available. Let's do one of those and one of those for the time being. Okay. Let's scroll through them while we're at it. Look. Ivor gets a promotion. That's good. Yes, why not? He also gets 2 points. I like his armour already. I think I want to make him hit harder and have more health. Okay, that's them. So what we do here... Okay, so is this one?
Put her bracelet. Yeah, so apparently it's a drag and drop situation.
Yeah, that I think is done now. I think that looks right. Okay. All right. And she has 3 kills. To Rook's none. And Ivor's 2.
Step it up, Rook. Jeez. What is the red 1 on the item? Spinner would like to know.
Good question. I think that's level. I think that's the item level, because it said something about you can upgrade item levels.
Yeah, when you promote.
So that would be my guess. Um, okay. All right. I think that's everyone sorted out. Um,
Oh, interesting. Characters can only equip items that have a lower level than theirs. It's been so long since I played that I completely forgot about that.
now it did say we can get them back in full action if we rest, didn't it? Oh, and this now indicates, the item indicates that it's got a let's head next to it. So that's encouraging. Okay, next. I think it's time for the Great Hall, because that's...
Well, if you go back to that screen, it will tell you how many days you need to commit to healing them as well, which is quite an important thing to be aware of. Because
Okay.
you might have some
Well,
that are out of
it
action
said
for 2 or 3
one day
days.
for each of them, I think.
Yeah.
Don't stop worrying yet. But we can only do that once we're in camp.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Dredge milling around ransacking houses. Yes. Chieftain's wife. Oddleaf. They must know we're here. Why weren't they attacked? Yes, fair point. Oh, good. That's interesting. Thank you, my friend. Left by now, they're already outside the doors. Okay. Oh. I don't think we can hold out. That's the problem. But can't just wait to be slaughtered. Frost Vela to the west. It's close and has walls. Okay. If they follow us, we're done. What do you suggest? This I like as a plan. Let me create a distraction, then go. I'll catch up on the road to Frost Vela. This sounds good to me. And yes, I'll help with the distraction. Well, we probably are throwing our lives away, frankly, but the good news is there's an entire community here apparently, so other lives are available. Okay. So, Chieftain's wife is up for a bit of a rumble. Make your move.
Yeah, I love that it's the notion that she's trained a lot and not is covered in arrows and bow and stuff.
Yeah.
That's a Halloween costume.
Well, Alette turns out to be quite useful as it happens.
Yes.
You have to let me come with you. Don't leave me, please. I'll be good. You know, I'm going to make the same decision I did last time. Yes, let's have her along. She's competent. The only problem is I don't know how much less effective she is when she's wounded.
Well, she is compromised.
Yeah. So I think she's too wounded to join us this time. Yeah, she'll hate me, of course, but that's life, isn't it?
Okay, she'll forgive you.
Ivor starts banging his shield and swearing at them. We kill a few and the rest will follow. Oh, God.
Whether that feeling you have when you read you steel yourself for a tough fight, that's how everybody else feels when you say, you know, oh dear, time to roll. Like in any stream. That's how we feel. When
Roll
you
for
say
survival.
Yes. Roll versus death. Okay.
Okay.
Even more mysteriously, you go roll 2d6. That's how
yeah,
we
well,
feel.
it does happen.
Yes.
On occasions, it does happen. Right. Okay. So, well, we've got them surrounded, apparently. That's the good news. I'm not going to be able to cluster them usefully. So I guess the only thing I can do... okay, let's make the big guy have to have a long walk. Right. That. Okay.
Lovely.
All right. Oh no, that's only if he's close. Let's try that and see. No, he's not quite in range, so we'll have to move him first. No, it says he's in range, doesn't it? That's weird.
He's got the enemy is red.
Yeah.
If his base is red.
So why is it then that if I select him and attack, it just reselects? It doesn't look like I can.
Because you're trying to do a melee attack.
Possibly. So how do I do a rest? No, rest is not what I want to do right now. Yes, but it doesn't look like he can move there, so I suspect he does need to be a bit closer. Let's move him then, and then do that. We've got lots of armour, but let's hurt it.
Nicely done. Yeah, he's got a ways to go, hasn't he?
Yeah, that was my theory about putting them away. Now, she's not going to be able to do it. She could from there. So let's... What does that do? Okay, that's if they enter into it. Useful to have, but not actually what we want right now. So let's go for...
Nice. Yeah.
If we do that...
One blessing about the dredge is they move really slowly. Plonk. He really did you a favour there, actually.
push for that. If we can chip him down. Will significantly weaken him.
Yeah.
Not worth doing that. So we'll hold on to the willpower. How potent is this guy? He's only got 3, hasn't he? So hopefully
useful.
Okay, she can't do anything from that range because she's too close. However,
But you can move her back so the next guy can get the hit.
if I do that, I should then be able to finish him off, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Much better. That fight was much better.
That felt much more successful.
Yes. Well, the right bodies are on the ground, I feel.
Yes. Yes. Yes, that felt like a much more successful mission, frankly.
Yeah. But also, you commanded the arena much more confidently. And I think your placement was much better.
I suppose it's like everything. When you first encounter things, you're a bit baffled as to what on earth you're doing. But it does start to make sense, doesn't it?
Make an omelette, or whatever that stupid phrase is.
Yeah, first steal an egg.
Yes. Steal the egg.
There. Okay, so there are some people wounded and some missing. However, okay, Alette appears to have forgiven me. There you go. That's good.
Yeah.
And got himself a prize for trying to fight back, but he's alive. Nothing for it but to get to Frostfeller. And plus 30 renown. That's useful. We need that for doing things like promoting people.
So, do you want to stop in a minute?
Yeah,
I mean, you can break camp at any time you want. I'm just wondering what time. So it's getting on. It's
now we're out of a fairly successful combat.
Yeah.
Now might be the time. Right, let's get to the end of this sort of
yeah, I just
bit.
thought I'd pop it up over the horizon for you.
I think that's a very good idea. Okay. The path should be just ahead. Call for an early stop. Don't like that. We're being pursued. Slow the pace so everyone can catch up. That's better. Keep a steady pace. Not ideal, but let's try a speech.
Very you.
It is very me. Yes.
Orate at them.
The clansmen see your effort and follow suit, pushing themselves harder. Morale improved. I improved morale and got some renown at the cost of some supplies. Okay. Oh, morale declined again. All right.
Well, that's because it's the end of the day. It takes 1 morale anyway. So you can see the smiley face is less smiley. It's going a bit blue now. So that's your morale indicator next to your days.
That's normal morale. That's days. Far enough for today, I think. Okay. All right. Somebody has to hold them together. I agree. That's you, Rook.
Good boy. Pat, pat.
But you're the dredge killer around here. Actually, it turns out that's mostly
It's a
Alette.
lead. Yes.
Yeah, Val. They want to listen to someone who looks like them. What about Odeleaf? Actually, she got the last kill. Let her if that's easier for you. All right. Okay, I've got the same two options back. So what if we run into, and what am I supposed to do? Well, we're not going to ask what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to know that.
Well, he is just a hunter who's lived with his daughter and is fleeing for his life. He's not a leader of men or anybody of any kind of status. So he wouldn't necessarily know how to
You say
rally
he's not a
men.
leader of men, but it turns out he's now a PC, and I'm playing him, so he is a leader of men.
And obviously resplendent,
Resplendent,
in that role.
yes.
Yes, very much so.
So we run, yes.
But I feel someone on the job training might be appropriate, is all.
Yes, true.
You know,
You're going to have to
how
fight.
to cut a fine pose and that Alexander the Great fluffy curly hair blowing in a gentle breeze, that kind of thing.
Exactly, yes. Yes, the Macedonian mullet is clearly the way to go.
Exactly. Is that what you say when you go to the hairdresser? Because that's this week, isn't it? Give me a Macedonian mullet and don't ask questions.
Yes, total war in the front and, colonisation in the back. How I feel, I'm stuck nursing a bunch of weakenings. Yes, he does care. Men are a plague on the world, worse than any dredge. Well, then you're fighting for the wrong side, mate. I'm sorry. Chats like this won't get along so well either. Okay. The Godstone, I think we have to inspect. It's god of hunters and of wild beasts. Occasionally seen roaming the land as both man and wolf. Always depicted in effigy with his terrible spear. Okay.
I think he'd be quite excited. Lots more stuff to kill.
The young girl makes me a necklace carved from a branch.
Oh.
Okay. There it is, the Godstone. Look at that. Okay. So if we hit camp...
Yep. And what you could do is heal up a wee bit, and then you're sort of ready when we start
No,
next
that
time.
is training. It's
lead
rest,
into it.
isn't it, we need for healing? Morale improved. 1 day. Now let's take a look at our heroes again.
I don't want to alarm you though, but you do only have 3 days of supplies left.
That is potentially a problem. However, the good news is it means everybody's healed.
Yes.
Okay. Right, it feels to me like this is a good place to pause our first session. Yes, you're right.
So how did you find it?
I think it's absolutely gripping so far. I think the story is fascinating, even though it's slightly weird that I'd only just got used to the one caravan and I was completely dropped in on the other one. But
Yeah.
I suspect the two threads will come together, you understand?
Yes. Yeah. I have nothing to say on the matter.
But yes, I think it is going to be enormous fun to see where the story goes. But
And what I love is it's a game of tremendously hard licks, but really beautiful ones. So it is quite punishing, but it does encourage you to come back and try again.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're doing really well. My first attempt, I'd already lost like 2 Val by this point.
Okay. So I don't need
Oh,
to
the
feel
big guy
too
wouldn't do
bad.
anything.
Uh,
Oh,
uh,
you're doing great. Compared to me, I sucked.
well, I lost the young idiot bloke who was clearly in love with Alette, but to be fair, he wasn't good enough for her anyway. And as her father, I'm not that sorry to see him go.
Wow. Everybody needs a. You can marry her if you prove that you love her, and you can prove that you love her by dying for her.
Yes,
Job done. Now you're good enough and dead.
yes. And if you float, you're a witch. Remember that.
Yes, he would have made a lovely husband. Stone him, stone him, stone him, stone him. Wonderful.
Well, thank you. Okay, I really appreciate that. We'll be playing
Thanks,
this
man.
essentially every Monday evening, 11 o'clock UK time. So come along and join in anytime you like. It's lovely to have you with us. And thank you.
Oh, we have a Discord. Let me find our Discord link.
Ah, good
Sorry,
point.
we have a.
Yes.
Because this isn't normally what we do. Normally we play Traveller. Well, Ben plays Traveller on Fridays, and I'm not in that. I'm just a bystander by and large. So there's a regular Traveller stream on Friday, except not this Friday because there are people on holiday and doing things. Saturdays tend to be a more community-focused day where we have regular people who come in and do stuff, or a free-for-all, or whatever else is going on. Thursday sometimes is a Luke plays, and then this is what we're doing on Monday until Luke, our fine and noble leader, cohort, I don't know what he is, person, can retake the slot and start playing. I think he was on Cyberpunk, wasn't he?
Yes, that was the last thing
Oh,
I
you're
think he
in
was doing.
Romania. Goodness me.
Huh?
Well, there's our Discord. Please do feel free to pop along and say hi. It's a very low energy, very sweet group of quite quirky people, and I'm sure you'll fit in.
Excellent. So the last thing I have to do, really, other than say, we'll be back doing something on Friday, but that'll be more role-playing game, as in tabletop role-playing game stuff, rather than computer game stuff. But the other thing I have to say, of course, is thank you so much, Socks.
Oh, well, completely welcome, actually. It was really lovely. I'm a big fan of the vicarious gaming and watching somebody else make the mistakes for once and not feeling that pressure.
Well,
But what
hopefully
I will do
I
is I'll
made
try
enough
and,
mistakes to keep you interested.
actually, you were surprisingly good, Ben. Don't mean surprisingly. I wasn't hoping that you'd trip up or. But I feel that you picked up a number of points very quickly. But also, you settled into the setting really comfortably. It seemed to just really fit with you. And that
Yeah.
was really nice.
Yeah, it does feel like a nice way to learn about the world through just conversation and chatting with people. And they're very their characters are very front and center. If they're supposed to be belligerent, then
Yeah.
they're belligerent at everything. They open a door
Yes.
belligerently. They sit down belligerently.
One review did describe it as a game for masochists and writers, which I thought was rather lovely.
Check and check.
So I will try and dig up more trivia and stuff for next week.
Brilliant.
But yeah, thank you for having me along for this lovely ride.
Thank you very much. It's been an absolute treat. And so thank you anybody who came along and joined in chat or watched for a bit while we were live, and of course anyone who catches up on VOD. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back doing this next Monday. And until then, we will bid you a fond good night.
Bye. Have a good week, guys.